we have to see that. Like, we can't just not go. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about 5 things that I think were the most fun things that I've experienced while living here in the UK so far. The Robin Hood experience in Nottingham. So this is like kind of cheesy, a little bit quirky kind of museum in Nottingham. And it's all about the Robin Hood experience. It's a small little building. It looks like it's probably was a residence or store at some point. And you have to go up 3 floors and start the experience, and you go all the way down. It's full of mannequins and figures, and it has some medieval things in it. There's rooms that are dedicated to the films and movies that were and television shows that were made about Robin Hood. There's some historical facts, there's some interactive fun stuff, and there's even a room where you can kind of where the kids can kind of dress up, or adults can get in on it too, and just have some fun and just kind of experience Robin Hood. Unfortunately, I have found out recently that it's been closed permanently, which I'm a little bit gutted about, to be honest, because even though it was a little bit cheesy, it was still fun. And the best part about it was I grew up watching Robin Hood. My dad was a big fan of Robin Hood, the Errol Flynn black and white Robin Hood movie. And my partner enjoyed Robin Hood, and we were just able to kind of reminisce a little bit and everything as we were walking through the museum. And we were also able to kind of share those experiences with our child while we were walking through the museum as well. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it's something that I'm always going to remember that me and my family did. Seeing an actual replica of a Viking longship. The Hugin was a Viking ship that was found at the bottom. I'm not sure if it was bottom of the Thames or bottom of the ocean, probably the ocean. That makes more sense. It was raised up, and it was fully restored and brought to its original glory, and it's absolutely stunning. It's located in Pegwell Bay in Ramsgate, Kent. It commemorates the 1500th anniversary of the Anglo-Saxon invasion of Britain. I mean, that's pretty cool. I thought, and I was actually kind of surprised. It was one of those things that we kind of came upon as we were driving somewhere else, and my partner said, "Oh, hey, I think this is where this Viking ship is," and I was like, "What? You have a Viking ship here?" It was a lot of fun. It was smaller than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. I've, for some reason, had this vision that it was close to like an English, I guess probably a British Navy flagship or something was probably stuck in my head a little bit. I just thought it was much bigger. It's super long, but it's very narrow. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to see. You don't get to go on it or anything like that, but it's just one of those things that I never thought I would ever get to see in person. And even though it is like a restored replica of it, I do still think that it is just interesting and was kind of a sideline, and it wasn't like a major big moment or one of the biggest tourist attractions that are around. I really enjoy stuff like that. I like the stuff that you can just kind of find on the side, and it's something that I never thought I would ever get to see anyway. And that's really one of the great things about living in the UK is just discovering and seeing things that I never thought I would ever any other place. So for me, it was a really, really cool, fun moment, and I'm definitely going to never forget it. Celebrating Guy Fawkes Night. Now, I've had a very long history lesson for many years from British people about Guy Fawkes. For those of you who don't know, Guy Fawkes is the man who was responsible for maintaining and monitoring the gunpowder that was placed at the bottom of Parliament on the 5th of November. Remember, the 5th of November. So Guy Fawkes was a member of a society that was very English Catholic. They developed a plot to put a massive amount, at that time, of gunpowder at the bottom of Parliament when the king was going to visit, so that they could blow up Parliament, blow up the king, and thus have I think we wanted to just not have a monarchy at all. Guy Fawkes was the person who actually was in charge of the gunpowder and setting it off and all that. Apparently he was the only one in the group that had any kind of experience with gunpowder, and he was caught. and he was paraded through the streets, and he was burned at the stake. So they do this commemoration now every year where they celebrate that the plot actually did not go through, that it wasn't successful. And they have a bonfire, and they do memorials to people who died for England, and sometimes they parade effigies of Guy Fawkes through the streets. They also do fireworks displays to signify the, burning what would have happened if the plot was successful. It's obviously a distinct moment in British history. When we got to celebrate it, it was pouring down rain the entire day. They still went through with it because England, that's what England is. If you held everything up for rain in England, nothing would ever get done. Fireworks went off without a hitch, but the bonfires, not as successful. But it was still a lot of fun. Another bonding moment with the family. It was a unique experience that I'm never going to have again. I would like to experience it again without the rain, just to kind of get the full effect of it. But I think that being that it was my first time, I'm always going to remember it. And it was a lot of fun. And the crowd was great. Everybody was cheering the firemen on, when we were trying to get the bonfire going. And even though it was kind of washed out, it was a really good spirit surrounding it, and it was still a fun celebration. So, yeah, I'm always going to remember that. And it was definitely one of my favorite things I've done so far. Edinburgh Castle. I just have to say on a side note, Edinburgh, totally have to go. One of my favorite cities that I've ever visited in the world so far. Definitely worth it. And if you are in Edinburgh, you have to go to the castle. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you know I'm a castle junkie, so this would not surprise you that there's at least one castle on the list. Edinburgh by far has been my favorite. I've only been to a few, so bear that in mind. But it is one of my favorites. It's very different than any of the castles that I've been to here in England so far. It's built on a hill, and it goes up and around the hill. Basically, it's built in the same confines of the hill that as it goes up. It's just absolutely stunning. So much to see there. There's so much to experience there, and you learn so much history there. And just the walk up to the gates and everything. It's just a beautiful walk on the Royal Mile, and then you walk in and you see the gates, and it's just absolutely stunning and gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorite things that I've done in the UK so far, and I actually can't wait to go back and do it again. All right, here we are. Number 1, my absolute favorite thing that I have done in England so far. Visiting Ye Olde Trip to Jerusalem. So Ye Olde Trip to Jerusalem is actually the oldest inn in England, as far as I know. I'm not sure. I hear that it's called the oldest pub as well, but in any event, it is an amazing place to go see. It was built in 1189, and it's small, it's tiny. The ceiling's really low, it's cramped, but it's absolutely amazing. There's so many little coves, and there's a big fireplace, and the bar is right in the middle of the entire pub. Apparently it was a well-known pit stop for a lot of crusade nights and stuff like that. It's very quaint and very quintessential English, and I loved it. I had so much fun, and I love that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for this is where people hundreds of years ago lived, or where they conversed. And I'm just a kind of a pub junkie a little bit too. More of a castle junkie, but but we could debate that. Some people say I'm more of a pub junkie. Some people say I'm more of a castle junkie. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. But definitely, it's a really great atmosphere. It's definitely worth visiting if you're in the Nottingham area. Especially if you're visiting Nottingham Castle, you might as well just take the trip. Just come out of the entrance, make a right, follow it all the way down, and you will see it right at the end of the castle. It is easy to find. It is absolutely a fun little afternoon. And yeah, by far my favorite thing I've done so far. So there you have it, guys. My 5 favorite things that I have experienced in the UK so far. I've only been here a couple years, so I know I have a little bit more to explore. If you guys have a suggestion of another place or something else that you think should have made the list, but maybe I haven't seen yet, or something I've experienced that maybe I should have added, put it in the comments below for me. Thanks for watching, guys. Be safe. Bye. Are you ready? I know. I shiver with anticipation. Being the oldest pub in England, it commemorates the 1500th anniversary of the Anglo-Saxon Anglo-Saxon. Don't worry, this will all be edited.